We optimize for voice to make driving safe, and we make sure that your brand is recognized by your users, and designing for automotive is easy.
Play Store in the car will recognize what your application is done for the car, and it will be available for users to install. Next step is, it could be easy or it could be hard. If your application is refactored already, but your playback service is separate from your user interface, you just need to exclude your mobile activities from a packet that you're going to be making for a car. Because mobile activities are not designed for a car, they're not distraction optimized, so they will not be allowed in a car, except with a couple of exceptions that I'm going to talk later. One of the exceptions is sign-in activity, because you don't have your phone to start playing in the car. You need your user to sign in somehow. And so you implement activity, which is designed for a car. And the way, since you don't have any other activities, you don't launch it yourself, the framework will launch it for you. And the way you do it, you will set an error state on media session, and you set specific extra with a resolution intent to take you to a sign-in activity. So you set extra, and you set a playback session into the error state, saying authentication required. Settings activity is optional. If you need to control playback, for example, maybe you need to download music and you need to set a playback quality, settings activity is optional. The way you declare it, it's pretty standard. You just say intent filter applications preferences, and this will be automatically recognized by the platform itself, and it will display an icon so user can go to settings. Sign-in and settings activity with driver distraction not optimized, so they only be allowed when the car is parked. Or some things to consider. When you're implementing your activities, don't set them to any specific orientation. You can't rotate your car. Avoid using notifications. Notifications are not optimized for driving, so the user might miss one. So only important notifications will be displayed when the user is driving, and everything else, just be mindful when using notifications. Toasts are even harder to see in a car because drivers are focusing on the road mostly. So don't use toasts. In the future, we might even disable them. Permissions also, like, not really great idea to ask them as a user is driving to ask for permissions. If you absolutely have to ask for permission, do it in your settings and sign-in activity. And car screens could be very large. So if you provide graphics to the infotainment system, provide all vector images where possible, because some screens are very large and your bitmaps might not look very great. So let's recap. So you build your audio service, which you probably already know how to do it. You implement media session and media browse service interfaces, and you implement all the steps that I was talking about that are specific for a car. So now Roberto is going to talk to you about tools that we build in for working with applications for cars, and he will also go for some practical demo how to build a music application for a car.
Thank you, Igor. My name is Roberto Perez, and I'm going to walk you through the changes we have done to the Android development tools to support automotive OS. Some of the changes we've done are on Android Studio. What we have included are new code templates that are going to allow you to develop for automotive OS more easily. The first template I want to talk is the new project template. This is going to create a project that contains support for both Android Auto and Automotive OS, and it also includes a skeleton of a media service. You will have to do the work of implementing your business logic and your streaming, but it's going to give you a framework where to start. The second template is a new module automotive template. This is in the case that you already have an application, and this application already implements all the necessary pieces for Android Auto, and you want to extend it to support automotive OS. The template is going to add a new module, the declarations to indicate that this application is meant to be run on a car, and you can then connect it to your existing business logic. Now, when it gets to the point of testing your code, we don't expect you to go and buy cars to be able to test it. The best option is to use an Android emulator. And to that end, we are including two new virtual devices that you can use. The first one is a generic automotive OS virtual device. This contains a reference implementation of the media experience and playback services, Google's Play services, and all the necessary pieces for you to be able to test your application. You can also see this same system image in the Code Labs here in I/O, where you can play with it. The second virtual device is actually provided by Volvo. It's the same experience that you're going to see in the Polestar 2 car. You actually can see this in action in our garage. And it contains the Polestar version of the media experience. Instructions on how to download it and install it are in the link on the screen. And of course, as we introduce new features, more form factors come into play, different screen sizes, we're going to be updating the list of emulators. The tools I just described are available today as part of the Android Studio 3.5 beta. Just a note, the automotive features are behind a feature flag. Instructions on how to enable them are on the link on the screen. So now it's time to do some demo. And from the framework that Igor presented, the 3 steps on how to build a media app, I'm going to focus on the third one, the automotive-specific features. So to fast forward my demo, I'm going to start from an existing project. This project is a simplified version of the Universal Media Sample app. This sample application is provided by Google. It's publicly available on GitHub. It contains all the pieces of a complete media application. It does streaming, implements media session and media browse. So I'm going to start from here. And I'm going to use the Android Studio template to add automotive support. I'm going to test it on the emulator. And in the end, we're going to have a fully fledged media application running on automotive OS. So now, if we can switch to my laptop. So this is my project. It contains 2 modules. One of them is mobile. This module contains all the assets for the phone. So it contains sign-in activities, all the activities that you see on the phone, and it's the one that generates the APK that powers Android Auto. The second module is it's called Media. It contains a music service, which does all the business logic for playback and the implementation of media session and media browse. So as you can see, I'm starting from a good place. It contains all the pieces for supporting Android Auto. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend it to support automotive OS. I'm going to use the new module template. I'm going to select automotive. And I'm going to complete the form. The first thing, I need to give my application a name. This is the name that is going to appear to the users on the app selector. I'm going to say oral. This is the fake application name we've been using for the demos. I'm going to rename my module automotive to make it clear that this is where all the automotive-specific things are going to go, like all the vehicle-optimized activities and assets. And I need to change my package name to match the code that I already have. The wizard is going to ask me if I want to create a new media service. And the truth is, we already have one in the share module, so I'm going to say no. And now we just need to wait for Gradle to do its thing, and we get our third module. If we look a little deeper, we can see that this manifest includes the declarations to say that this is an automotive OS application. But my module is empty. There's no code here. And that's because we said we are going to reuse the content of the media module that we already have. So for that, I need to add a dependency. I'm going to add a line to this Gradle file. And this is going to tell the automotive module to reuse the media service that we have on the media module. My media module uses Java 8, so I also need to copy this declaration over there. And that's it. This is all the code I need to have an automotive OS application. Now, in order to test it, I said before, the best option is to use an emulator. And this is where we added some new features to Android Studio. We have a new section, automotive. And here's where we have the 2 new virtual devices. So I'm going to complete this wizard. And we have a new virtual device ready to launch. So here we have the emulator running. While this is booting, I'm going to complete my code. All I need to do is to compile it. Now, you're going to notice there is this red cross here. And that's because Android Studio is complaining that there is no activity to launch. And that's actually by design, because in our case, this application doesn't have a launcher activity. And, the application is going to be launched by the media experience by the system. So I'm going to select nothing here. So this is going to tell Android Studio to just compile and install it, but not to launch it. And I want to show you the media experience. These are the applications we have by default. And if I compile, we just need to wait a couple of seconds. Android Studio just told me that it's compiled successfully and installed successfully. So now we have our new application here. If I click on it, we have an application working. I can select a song. This is going to start playing. And we have our application working on automotive OS. I want to show this same application how it looks on the Polestar. So I'm going to select the Polestar 2. And I'm going to launch that virtual device. While this is booting, we can start compiling again. Oh, I need to wait. Okay. Application is ready. And we can see the same application, how it looks a little different, because this is using the customizations that Volvo has done on their own system. OK, and that's the demo. Can we switch back to the presentation? OK, that went well. Thank you. Now, with our code ready, we are ready to publish our application. And for that, what we're going to be using is using app bundles. App bundles is a format that allows you to package all your assets, both for the phone and for the car, in a single package that you can upload to Google Play Store. Then Google Play Store is going to take care to distribute the corresponding package to each device. This is going to streamline the way you manage your uploads. Google Play Store is going to start receiving submissions later this year. So to summarize, I want to give you a roadmap, depending on where you are on your development process. Let's say that you are starting from scratch. You don't have an application yet. Then there are two options where to start. One is you can use the templates that I showed you on Android Studio. This is going to give you the skeleton, the necessary structure to start from, but you will have to implement all the business logic yourself. The other option is to start from the other end, that is using this Universal Media Player sample app. This contains all the code. It implements support for all the form factors in Android, including Automotive OS. And it has all the implementation and solutions for common problems while dealing with media. Then maybe you already have an application, but it doesn't implement media service yet. So you can use the Automotive Media Service template. This is going to give you the skeleton of a media service. It's going to add it to your project. You will need to hook that up to your existing business logic. Or maybe you already have an Android Auto application, but it's built as a monolithic code base. So in that case, you will need to work on modularize it. And by that, I mean separating your phone assets from the media service. That way, you are going to be able to reuse your media service for automotive. If you go to this point, you are almost done. All you need to do is to add the declaration to support Automotive OS. And if your application needs sign-in or settings, you need to develop vehicle-optimized activities and configure it as Igor explained before. In the end, we expect the project similar to this. One module dedicated to the phone that is going to power both the phone experience and the Android Auto experience, and a module for automotive that is going to contain vehicle-optimized assets meant to be run on the car. And then a third module containing most of your business logic, the implementation of Media Station and Media Browse as a shared module between the two. We have updated the Android developers website with instructions, step-by-step instructions on how to get this done. And if you want to get your hands dirty, we have the code labs here at I/O with these little bench units where you can test creating an application from scratch. Later today, we're going to be hosting office hours, and we would love to hear from you. If you have any questions on what we presented today, or if you have any other ideas on the automotive space, we would love to hear you. In the same area, we have two cars. One of them is the Polestar 2, running the system experience that I presented before. So come and see Automotive OS in action. So this is it. Here are all the links that we presented during today's session. We're hoping to see your applications hitting the road. Thank you for coming.